Hey everyone, welcome back to the Citizens Crime Watch podcast. You know me, I am your host, Joe Bermudez. Today we're honored, we're blessed to have this individual here, our guest today. Let's
start from rip. I see.
Let me see how I'm going. How's it going? Let's see. He is a local police officer, law enforcement officer, protector of the community.
That's right.
He is a social media influencer, I would say. You influence a lot of people. You influence me.
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
He is the social media guru, I would call you. My social media idol.
Okay. All right.
So, I've learned so much from this individual, from this man. Nick Perez, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome. Hey, clap. Golf
Keep
clap.
it down, guys. We're trying to do a podcast here.
But welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Appreciate you having me. That intro was clutch. I'm just wondering, did I extend it a little bit by giving them a challenge coin right before this episode?
It might have had a little something to do with it. Because I was just saying, hey, there's this dude here today that I picked off the streets, but
all right.
That nice coin.
There you go.
Nice coin. You should hit him up for one.
No.
Nice coin. I said, let me juice it up a little bit. But
thanks for having me.
No, thanks for being here today. But before we get started, I got to do the business. Make sure you subscribe, click, like, all that good stuff. Because, hey, if not, I get fired. And then I need a job. Kids, wife.
Well, at least you're going
expenses.
Out with a bang on this podcast.
It would be. At least if I'm going out on top with Nick. Do that. Let's go back. Regularly scheduled program.
And we're back.
But thanks for being here today again, man. I really appreciate it. I think we will be very educated today on a lot of stuff. What our topic today is, why we're here, what we're doing here, social media, podcasting, this new world, the World Wide Web that's grown so much.
Did you say World Wide Web?
Did I say that? Did I just show my age?
www.
Did I just show my age? www. World Wide Web.
I love it.
So, you gotta age myself every now and then.
Right.
But we got a lot to learn here, and I'm sure that you got the insight that you're going to provide, the successes.
We're going to talk all about stuff. MySpace, AOL.
There you go, all that good stuff. The loading. Wait a second, it's going to be loading right now.
Hey, it's where it all started, baby.
It's it. So today's kids will never know. You know, don't pick up the phone. I'm downloading something.
Yes.
Remember those days?
I remember those days.
But that's awesome. So before we get started, I mean, everybody knows me because I talk a lot.
Okay.
And you know me, I talk a lot. So
right.
I've introduced myself so many times. But I always like to give my guests a little moment to introduce themselves, a little background on you, a little history on you.
Absolutely. Okay, so 18 years in law enforcement. Prior to law enforcement, I was a school aftercare specialist and a DJ on the weekends. That's where I get this voice from.
There you go.
That's right. So those were my jobs prior to getting to law enforcement. Before that, I was a collegiate athlete, played baseball at FGCU, shout out. Also at Miami-Dade College, shout out, and Broward. I was a little bit of a gypsy baseball player. Whoever would let me start.
Whoever would give you that bat.
I had zero loyalty. So played baseball, high school baseball. Was around team sports all my life, and then transitioned into law enforcement. Did a little bit of stand-up comedy before getting into law enforcement.
I heard about that.
Yeah, a little bit. So law enforcement, 18 years. During my career, I got the opportunity to be a part and start the social media unit at our agency back in 2015. So we're going on 10 years of doing this gig. You wouldn't even notice by looking at me. You know what I mean? Still look young and handsome. So
just don't take off the hat.
Exactly. That's why I'm wearing it. Because otherwise, I'm like, who's this guy? The hat, I still got something. But anyways, so 10 years of doing this. I took the show on the road. Been doing it around the nation since 2018, where I travel around to different agencies around the nation. Almost around the world. I had to actually say no to an opportunity to go to Dubai police. And that's something cool that we could talk about later on.
Definitely.
But I saw that trip when I started going off on a solo mission. I saw that trip coming, and it came years later. But I manifested that. Unsolicited, got hit up by Dubai police. We'll talk about it in the podcast, but it's good stuff. And then now I'm here. I've done podcasting, vlogs, and created an app that's going to change the way that we recruit.
And we're definitely going to talk about that.
So all that
we're
stuff.
going to wrap it up. We'll talk about that because it's amazing. I really,
Yeah.
And it's going to be very useful to our viewers that are law enforcement ambitious.
Yeah.
So, but we'll definitely talk about that. So listen, I'm going to tell you guys something. He's being a little bit. I mean, he's saying it with modesty.
Trying to.
Saying, well, I'll go around the nation, travel. This man is well known around the country, and I think you're one of probably what I said earlier, the guru, the man, the legend, the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
But he is very well known, very very knowledgeable in the field, and. If you need something, I'm sure you reach out to him. He will work with you. He will help you. I mean, we're going to talk about some stuff for agencies out there, for our viewers that are with different agencies and stuff like that, how to help them and stuff. But I guess that transitions into where we're at now. Is just now you said you had the ability, or you had the you were given that opportunity to start the social media team for your agency back in 20. Was that your first involvement in social media? Or were you involved in social media before that? When did you first get involved in social media?
Good question.
And why?
Yes, that's a good question. So as I mentioned, I did stand-up comedy. So that stand-up, I let that go down by the wayside. I said, I'm going to put everything aside. I'm going to really try to be a police officer and learn to be a police officer. So 3 years into law enforcement, I did nothing on the side. I was just law enforcement. On the fourth year, I started working the door at the Improv. So at the Improv, they find out, like as an off-duty gig, they find out that through my sergeant that I used to do stand-up comedy. So the managers loved me, and they told me, we want you to do stand-up comedy. So I was like, I don't know. Yeah, we have an open mic night. You should try it. So long story short, I try it. They love me. And then we put together Heroes Night. So through that relationship, ended up selling out, and I mixed in comedians with first responders, and we had, and we included teachers in that. It was just kind of like anybody in the service profession.
Right.
You can come in, enjoy this night. So we sold out. Through that, the entertainment was put on the map to the entire agency, that this guy can get up in front of an audience and entertain. I always had a knack, and I always wanted to be in movies and film, and I love creating
You
stuff.
got a little Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone thing going on.
Well, So I always wanted to film. So with my paychecks, I was able to afford a camera. One of the first things is like, first I need to get a house. But then eventually, I got my townhome, and then I was like, when I get a little extra, I'm buying a camera. So I finally bought my professional camera, and I learned. I always wanted to learn how to edit. I didn't go to school for any of this, YouTube University. So I learned how to edit. And my son, he was like 1, 2 at the time. Actually, he was just born when I got the camera. But as he got a little bit older, I started doing videos with him, and he got into Star Wars, and everything he was into, I would create and learn how to do the lightsaber on YouTube. Look all that stuff up, learn how to edit, and then I would put that stuff out on my Facebook, just showing. So now you have the stand-up comedic little background. You have some stuff that I was doing with my son. And then the people at my agency were following me. So they were like, this guy knows how to do this stuff already. This would make sense. And he works for us. It's free labor.
Exactly. Why are we going to pay an outside agency? Let's pull this guy in.
I didn't want to say.
Free.
But I also was very proactive. I still am a very proactive police officer. So I went into a lot of units, street crime. I was in the tactical robbery stuff. So I was out there doing work. So
it's good. You had the experience. You had experience in different different areas of the department that you could talk about it.
Correct. So if you guys, it's when you're looking for somebody, it's good. So you get somebody who knows the profession, but also has this other skill set to come in. So they were like, this is our guy. So when I got the phone call, and it was like a parking lot little meeting, there was a understanding. It's like, I'm not going to be a PIO. This is not hello and welcome and don't do drugs. And no, you can't, in social media, you cannot be too rigid. People want to relate and connect. That's one of the big things. So that was one of the things that I said. I said, if I'm coming on, I'm going to be Nick. I'm not going to be PIO. I'm going to be Nick. And that was an agreement. And then if you look in the early days, my shirt name tag said Nick. It was a uniform, but it said Nick on it. And that made it more personable to people. And then they related to Nick. And then Nick then introduced the department. So it was like a little bit of psychology behind the whole way we started everything.
No, and definitely. And that's, you know what, I like what you just said or how you just put it, because that's one of the things, and we'll get into that when we talk about like successes for departments, is that for so many years you had that PIO, the media relations guy, and it was that very, the unit. It was the clips that you saw on the news. It was very professional and stuff, and people kind of started getting away from that because, you don't want to just you don't want a guy out there just reporting just the facts, ma'am.
Yeah.
You had to have that personality, that relationship, and people, drawing them in to get their attention, and that straightforward, it's not going to work in today's society.
So, and to piggyback off what you're saying, PIO, there's still a need, and you still need to be professional, right?
Definitely.
And you have to be very to the point, because you're getting put into these boxes of this corporate news media where they have a time slot, and they're going to show only so much, and then the people that are on the couch watching, they turn off the TV and they move on. Social media, they comment, they say, yeah, but why this and that and the other? And if you stay with the corporate and walk away, it looks fake. It was like, now wait a minute. I get it. You're on TV and the commercial runs and that's it. We don't see you again. But you're here on social media. You have an opportunity to engage with me and talk. And you're letting me go with my question. That's a kind of a valid question. And that one person, that squeaky wheel, I guarantee you 3 other wheels, they might have a similar question to what that person's asking. So you address it if it's valid.
Right.
If it's like, why do all pigs, blah, 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 it's like, bro, get out of here.
Yeah.
But if it's something where it's a valid question, it's good for you to get in there.
And I love that aspect of it when, running our social media and doing these podcast stuff, that you're able to get back to the community and answer their questions.
Yes.
Because I'll post something and somebody will ask, well, what about this? Or, but there's this issue and stuff like that. And sometimes it may not even be a relevant topic.
Yeah.
Because you get the guy, that happens to be watching your clip and then asks about, well, this happened to me and my, you know what? I like that I'm able now to engage and say, okay, you have a valid concern. Here's what you can do about it.
Yes.
Here's who you can contact, and you can give them resources. So now you've turned a person who's maybe upset because they're not getting a service that they need, and you're able to provide them with that resource.
And then they come back and they will defend you when the next knucklehead comes in.
Yeah,
They come back.
And I've seen that. I've seen that it happens a lot on our next doors.
Yeah.
People get on there and start, you always get the people chiming down, and then you have the other ones that come back, our loyal followers. These people, they work, boom, 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 and they come back and defend us and say, no, they're doing a great job, and this is necessary, blah, blah. So, yeah, it is. It's amazing. So, so in all your years, in these last 10 years, let's talk. I'm sure your successes. I know your successes. Share with us what's your biggest success, and then I also tell us something maybe that you did that you said, man, I could have done that better, or I should have done it differently.
All right, so okay.
Because we all like to talk about good, but bad, because you learn from bad.
All right,
you learn from something bad.
So I wore this shirt. This shirt has about 14 million views. I was in a video, and this is just goes to show you about something. So this video I did, I was walking through the Hard Rock. We were leaving the Hard Rock Hotel in Hollywood, and as you're walking, you can look down and hear, and it's the day or night club day club down there, and there's people partying, but we're up in the garage, and I'm walking with my wife. I go, babe, it would be funny because it sounds like you're right there. And it'd be funny if I'm dancing up here to the music down there. And then I could say, you could take your husband out the club, but you can't take the club out your husband.
There you go.
So I so she starts on the people in the crowd and with the music and the smoke's coming down, and then it zooms up to the parking garage, and then here I am up in the 5th floor looking down, and it goes viral all over the place.
Wow.
So that little clip that I did in 30 seconds, super viral. I've done stuff where it's taken me 30 hours and I get like nothing. So at the end of the day, when you're trying, one thing I can say is don't try to chase virality. Don't try to chase the viral video, and that's when you get stuck in chasing those corny trends where you see a lot of people doing the TikTok dances and stuff, and it's like, no, you have to have substance. Those people that come in and comment and become your followers and they're in there battling with you is because you're providing information, a service to them. So if you're just chasing, we get a lot of views on this, I mean, you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail, and you're gonna look bad. It's gonna look bad on the agency. So some of the biggest mistakes I've done in my career as a social media content creator. I don't like saying influencer, but okay. So social media content creator is that I pay attention to the negative comments. There would be 1,000 comments, but that one guy who's talking about how big my nostrils are or something.
so you go ahead. Yeah. I'll be gone for a couple weeks. I gotta have surgery.
I got a nostril reduction. Like I want to breathe through coffee straws, doc. You know what I mean? Like I want the tiny little nostril, but something like that where you pay attention to, and you're like, oh man, you're focusing on that, and it kind of kills the vibe, because in reality, one, if you got somebody on there commenting about your nostrils on social media, they got issues. Like they're just knuckleheads. So you shouldn't pay no mind to them. Stay above the noise, right? And two is you'll think about that for a week, but in reality, they moved on and they're on another post commenting about something else. Meanwhile, you're dwelling on something where you're like, oh, bro, the next day, put something out. The next day, put something out. The next day, put something out. And don't worry about it, because people forget about, I would say, morning to afternoon, they might forget about it. Unless it breaks that cycle and it comes out of the news cycle and it's like that mega story, then that might even have 48 hours until the next thing comes in, because social media is so fast. So just
crazy.
Yeah. So just if don't get caught up on the negativity, don't worry about if a video doesn't do good. Go to the next. Move on to the next. So that's what would be one of my biggest mistakes. In the beginning, I was really concerned about, what are they gonna think? Now I don't care. I'm just like, whatever. Look at the shirt I'm wearing. I don't care. It works. So I would say, don't pay attention to the critics. Move on, move forward, and keep going. The viralness is peaks, but it's also a lot of valleys, right? So my advice and I believe what makes successful is, I just told you, 10 years. I've been doing this for 10 years, consistently. Consistency is what works. I'd rather get 500 views consistently every day of the week than hit a 5,000 view video and then nothing. All my other videos aren't getting views, because those 500 are going to turn into 1,000. Those 1,000 will turn into 10,000, so on and so forth. And now my average is 100,000 views every time I put out a video. It took me a long time, but it's because I'm building that audience rather than chasing that one big thing, and then they leave and they're like, wow, that was awesome. What's the next thing I got to do? Yeah, no, negative. Like you have to build.
Yeah, you just got to constantly build something, constantly have something out there, and and your content is on point, man. I got to tell you, and I like what you said about not chasing the trends.
Yes, don't chase.
You see a lot of creators that do that. They try, and it's just all the same. You can only watch so many little dances. You always watch some of this. Your stuff is like always original. So that's one of the things I love about when I find your stuff pops up. Yeah. Even like when you were doing your and we'll talk later, it's like you're doing your app promo that you sent out. You're like you're walking in the middle of the Everglades. I'm like, one thing has nothing to do with the other, but you know what? You drew me in because I'm watching you. And then I love the clips afterwards. You're like swatting mosquitoes and stuff. But it's like originality. That's what drives you. You're like, why the hell is Nick walking in the Everglades?
That's right.
And then you're like, at the same time, I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
But then it's sinking in what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So you're not, let me do my dance and here's my app. It's like, you're
No.
throwing somebody off.
Thinking about it, maybe like you are my fire. Download my app today.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
But yeah, that video was, the idea was, I was actually in Arizona the week before filming with Pinal County Sheriff's Department. Shout out to Fridays with Frank. But I was actually filming with them, and I wanted to find a long desert road, right? And that 10-year path that I've been on, and along this path, here I am. I developed an app to help recruiting across the nation, put people, thousands of recruits together. I'm like, I need to find something that shows that. So I left because I was on a tight schedule there. Got back and I was like, I'm going to the Everglades. Oh, there was gators, there was bugs the size of this microphone. I was getting lit up. It was so hot. And it was raining. I sat outside for an hour while it was raining in the Everglades by this abandoned boat. I was like, I'm just waiting. I went live for a little bit. Hey guys, this is what I'm doing. But yeah, it was. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
No, I did. So look, little behind the scenes, the life of the creator is always not the beautiful TikToker that's like sitting in Ibiza and saying, "Look at me with my dance." Right?
No.
It's sometimes you're in the trenches.
Yeah, I want to say some of those great times, I don't even bring out my camera because I want to enjoy it. So like those times, I don't go to Ibiza. Do not go to Ibiza.
Oh, come on now.
Nah. But those little moments where I'm really enjoying myself, I tried because 10 years, and I know I'm like, I want this for my personal enjoyment, something with my kids or my family like that. I'm not always constantly like, hey, I'm riding bikes. I'm like, no.
That's crazy too. Yeah, you can't be like that either.
Yeah.
You can't be, you got those are what I guess we call the influencers, the ones that their entire life is online.
Yeah.
So, but that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit first before we get into some of the other things I wanted to talk. For our department or agency viewers out there and stuff like that. What is your, I guess maybe like a little checklist? I mean, obviously it's your career there and what you've put into your agency's social media team is amazing. But what would you say for a successful social media team for an agency? What are like little key things that you would think or you would say, hey, you need to have this at least as a foundation, as a groundwork to get it going and to be somewhat successful?
Would you say equipment or personnel, strategy?
I would say like both. I mean, a little bit of everything.
Okay,
What do you think?
you.
Equipment. I mean, you could probably do some people that do stuff on an iPhone nowadays.
1,000%.
You can get it done. But what would you say as far as what do you need? Maybe I know one thing already you said is you need somebody to tell you go.
Yes.
Go with God.
Yes.
Do what you got to do.
Yes.
Right.
And that's one of the first thing I was going to say is you need the buy-in from the top, and you need the person at the top to let all the people in between know that this needs to be streamlined. Because the only way to social media to work, especially at a police department where we're giving out news that we have to beat the news, is it has to be streamlined, it has to be fast, accurate, right? So I would make sure you get the blessing. And that the people in between know that let's cut out some of this red tape and just put it in a system to where, you get somebody as a buffer, right? You need somebody to review something. But if you have 3 or 4 hands, this is going into the review, everybody's going to try to be relevant and be like, this sign, the frame should be black, not light brown. You know what I mean? The table should have a tablecloth. Do it again. Like, it will continue to go and you're done. So find a way.
By the time you're done with your message,
the news is gone.
It's gone. The next thing out there is going on.
Running Man Challenge. And I hate to talk about it, so old, 2016.
But that was awesome. You did a good job.
But one large agency in Miami area puts out a video within hours of getting challenged. The largest county agency in Miami-Dade County, I'm not saying any names, but they took 7 days to respond on that. They could have rode the wave and probably got a lot more views had they just been in a couple hours in response or even the next day. But what I heard on my end is that there was a lot of up and down, bouncing back and forth. So the lack of speed there is what kind of hurt in that case. So especially imagine that's a shooting or something that happens in your neighborhood and you have to get out some kind of information out. You got to be accurate but be fast. All right, so that's one. Get the buy-in from the top. 2 is the prioritizing content and understanding what content is what, right? So you have things that are like events. We're gonna go cover this event. We're out giving away food. We're out at this toy drive, whatever. So these type of events, you have somebody assigned to do that, right? So they can go out with their phone. Doesn't have to be crazy. All I suggest is get some kind of audio to be able to click into your phone and capture good audio. So a little mic that you can use. They sell them now. They're all over the place. Easy. They're not expensive. But good audio is key. So it hates when you're at an event. It's going to be loud. You're talking, hey chief or hey sheriff, and they're going.
Oh, you got the wind.
Yeah. So you
try sirens and stuff like that going on.
Exactly.
What did the chief say?
Yeah, exactly. So you need good audio, and even at like press conferences, you just put your little mic up there. And what we do now is we just stream from our phone, but our little mic is up there capturing the audio, and it works. So good audio. And prioritize that content, right? So then you have like the big content, the recruitment or PSA that we're going to do. We consider that we're going to maybe produce something good, and we just put a little more thought into this type of content. And I say produce, but I'm going to tell you a story real quick. I said, you know what else works is that you make it organic and you make it feel like you just got this news and it's urgent, and I have to tell you about this. Get naked right now. That's how I started a video. It was a front-facing camera, me walking through the parking garage, and I'm in uniform, and I say, get naked right now. Stops everybody in the tracks. Police officer? Yeah. Telling me to get naked. Some people in the comments are like, bro, after that first sentence, I already started unbuckling my belt. Bro, you gotta chill with that. But that video, 4 million views across the platforms. And what I was speaking to is that this is what child predators are texting your kids through Xbox, through any platform that Roblox, Minecraft, and they're using acronyms, GNRN. So these acronyms, and I found about 7 or 8 of them, that have to do with some kind of, the sexual advance towards kids. So, man, if you were to go, hello, my name is Officer Nicholas Perez, and today I want to, and they're gone.
Yeah, you've lost them.
They're gone.
You've lost them.
Get to the point right away. So that was front-facing. I was walking through the garage like I just got out of a meeting, so it worked. So there's times where, we'll produce something. We just did one about not getting drugged at the club.
It's good. I just saw it. Yeah, it was funny.
So I'm like,
and again, I love it because you get the hook.
Yes.
I'm like, here you are getting drunk. And I'm like, why is he filming himself getting drunk? Yeah. And then you went right in, and then when you pop up in the mirror,
exactly. Awesome. So those are a little more produced, but one meets the other. It's like this is like urgent information. All the parents need to know this. It has that shareability that if you're like, oh my God, I got to share what he just said because little Timmy, so that got a lot of shares. It hit, it landed, and it did excellent.
No, it's good. And I like you told that the get naked. I do that when I used to teach. When I taught internet safety, like especially with like the acronyms, in the middle of my PowerPoint, I just put.
Yeah.
I put put the acronym up, and everybody's like looking at it like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what that means?
Yeah.
And like your kids do, and then you attention grabber.
Yeah.
You bring them right back in.
You're right. I put an acronym. And I know we're G-rated here. So, but in Facebook, I'm trying to say the demographics of each, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and I'm asking the audience at conferences, who do you think is on this here? So they go and I leave Facebook for last, and I say, and what about the demographics on Facebook? And then I put the acronym that comes up when they answer because it reveals itself. It says old ASF, and then I'm like, all right, so what do you think ASF stands for? And I'll call on some unsuspecting lady, and she'd say old as, and she'll say what, the F. I'm like, no. And then I hit the button again, and then there's this old dude with great hair. It says old as Frank. That's Frank. So she drops an F-bomb, and I'm like, this lady's messed up.
We know what your child was like.
And everyone's cracking up. It's a good icebreaker, like you said. So the other thing I can suggest to agencies is that you have to understand that it takes consistency, and I go back to the chasing the trends, because I feel as though I'm a little bit of a catalyst to the TikTok cop, dancing cop stuff, because of the Running Man that I did back in the day. And I can say that it's okay to get in front of a trend, but use that to send your message. So we did that Running Man back in the day, and it was to point to, it's going to be a billboard for the vlog. So throughout that Running Man, I'm vlogging in the station, because this is when we just started the vlog. So we had 1,000 subscribers. Well, after that video, it went up to 15,000, because throughout that Running Man, I was telling, hey guys, come. And that vlog was a pullback behind the curtains to the entire agency, and you got to see the culture, how we work, how we operate, the real way that the police work is. And that helped with recruiting. And if there was any kind of message we needed to get out to a mass audience, whether it
it was a stepping stone.
Yeah.
One to another.
But it was with the intentions of building the vlog, because we knew the vlog was going to be an avenue for everything, for anything you wanted. Recruiting, PSA, just good PR. That vlog we were able to put and package. We got your attention for 15 minutes, 20 minutes sometimes, 30 minutes. And we could just talk about whatever message we want to give to them. So we use that for that. So when I say is to go back to the whole thing to agencies, is it's okay to if there's a river that's a trend that makes sense and you want to package your message in there, but don't just jump on every trend. It just doesn't it just doesn't fit the mission of law enforcement. Unless your agency is okay with it, in that case, by all means.
You got the time, go for it.
By all means. I just look at it as we're public servants. We're running on, the public's dime. What value are you bringing to them? I don't mind, maybe 1 out of 10 we do something fun, but you look at those other 9 videos, we're giving you substance. We're giving you lock your doors. We're giving you all that stuff.
Well, and I like that, because. And I like that. Yeah, if you jump on every trend, then you just become a swipe, I think.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah.
Would you say? Because I think that's if every trend you're just going, oh, this is the same thing.
Yeah.
But if you every now and then, content,
yes,
made trend,
yeah,
PSA, you flip back and forth, and then when you get the trend, you grab them.
Yes.
But if everything is a joke, then they
don't take you serious.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then when you really want them to watch, because you got to put some info out there, that crime prevention message or that tip or something like that, they're swiping.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I always was conscious about. Like, you can joke around, but there's also a line. Sometimes you have to be serious, and I didn't want to be dubbed as the clown. Even though, sometimes gotta be a clown, boys and girls.
Sometimes you gotta come back and forth. That's it. But that's good. You keep them, like you said, you keep it going and stuff like that.
It's a roller coaster, baby.
That's it. It's all about. So, so talking to the community.
Yeah.
Why is it so important for them to embrace social media and law enforcement? Like, why? I have a theory, I think, because, and I kind of mentioned to you all, we were talking off camera, I go, how social media has become so important, and that's why we're here talking today, is because that's where the world is right now.
Yeah.
That's where people get your news.
Mm-hmm.
The mainstream media, I mean, I'm not going to go all fake news here, but, mainstream media has become just blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it's like people are going to social media to see what's going on, to get their news, to get their information, stuff like that. A quick little, even how funny a thing is, and I feel bad, Mom, I'm sorry. I get a text from her the other day. Hey, I'm checking in, I'm fine, because she's living in the DR now.
Yeah.
She goes, I'm fine, everything's okay, it wasn't that bad. I'm like, what? And she goes, so there was an earthquake in the Dominican Republic. Heard nothing about it, because it was on the same day they were talking about the bombing. And it was like everything was bomb, 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 Iran, bomb, bomb, bomb. Nothing mentioned. So I felt bad. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I said, I saw nothing about it.
Yeah.
But
and to get to the media, you're right. They're unfortunately, they're a dying breed, right? So the media, they're battling social media. So they got to get clicks. So they're like, if it bleeds, it leads, or whatever it is. They're going with the polarizing. They're feeding each, and you can see in media, there's one that feeds one side and one that feeds the other side. Very few and far in between. You got to like kind of. I watch both sides. And I try to figure out what's the truth in the middle there, but they're feeding both sides just to get them, just keep them coming back. You know, I need to see, yeah, I need to be in this. So, social media, then you'll get where you can find yourself like, I'm getting some false information. Is that it's some of the stuff is not vetted and they're just echoing, and then it's just a person, right? It's not like there's checks and balances when I just turn on this microphone and start talking. I could tell you anything. I'm like, oh, you see the alien invasion? You know, like, oh my God, Nick said there's an alien invasion, right? So if social media, the news, you're battling there to try to find out the truth. So as a law enforcement agency, you are giving your statement, and that statement is what it is, right? This is our report. This is what we did. This is what we got to the scene, and this is what we got so far. So that beats out any rumors, anybody trying to twist it to energize their base. Like, you know, if there's a shooting and it's a questionable, we can come out with some kind of facts or something and say, hey, this is what happened. Now you take it for what it is, because there's no spin. It's like, this is what happened. This is what we got going on, and you take it for what it is. So in social media, you know, for a law enforcement agency to be on there, to be the horse's mouth is extremely important. And the public needs to know this. And it's unfortunate to say it, but no one's looking at anything else. Even when they're driving, they're on social media. They're passing billboards, all this stuff. They're on their phone. So it is what it is.
Everybody is on Miami-Dade. That's the number one news source in South Florida.
They're watching it, and then there's other people trying not to get on Miami-Dade. You know what I mean? That's one of the things. And I've been blessed where I've been able to be in a position where I do social media and an administrative role. But I'm like, man, there's probably been a lot of times in my career that I would be an Miami-Dade, you know, just chasing somebody across Biscayne Boulevard or something like that. They're like, oh, there he goes. There he goes. But yeah, it's important for agencies to be on social media, for the community to understand that's where the community is. Those days of where people have community meetups, and you see it now when you try to do a community meetup. There's no one really shows up, or it's just the same individuals. And in order to reach everybody, not only including, like adults, but we also reach kids. Like, we serve our community. We reach kids, those young adults. So you might get one type of person that comes to a small meeting, but our message needs to be received by everybody, and it can live on a platform that you can watch it at any time of the day. So we're getting views all throughout the day, and we see the demographics. You know, the working population. We post at 6 a.m. We hit them, our citizens that are, you know, they're either getting ready to go to work. The first thing you do in the morning, you wake up, you look at your phone.
See what happened.
Yeah. So we're getting them when we're giving out PSAs, but then we'll see another spike come in the afternoon. Maybe at lunchtime, people just sitting down and scrolling, and then at nighttime, you get the nighttime crowd. So it's good. And then having one meeting one day, you know, you can reach the masses and tell them some important information, especially like the PSA, you know, don't get drugged.
And it's important to realize, I know that you've mentioned it in classes of yours that I've sat in, is understanding the different platforms too, on who you're reaching.
Yes.
Because, you know, I get it from Mike, you know, he's, oh, you're on Facebook, Dad, you're old.
Yeah.
Facebook, what? Facebook, you know, Instagram, you know, their kids are on the gram, they're on the TikTok and stuff like that. And then you go to the older generation and they're like, TikTok, what's that?
Yeah.
So you got to understand. And agencies need to understand that so that you can get your customer base.
And we've seen this in the past. And unfortunate to say, well, we're talking about crime prevention, but an active shooting situation, these kids, God forbid in a school, they don't know 911. They don't call 911. They're a lot of times in Marty Stoneman Douglas, they were snapping out Snapchat. They're posting stuff on Snapchat about what's going on. So we need to be available. God forbid something happens and they need our service to reach out, or something they're feeling comfortable with and they don't want to tell their parents, but we need to be available. So that's why it's important for agencies just to be there.
So let's talk about something else that I think you've become very good at as well, where I'm trying to emulate you here.
What are you talking about?
What do you think we're talking about? The mic.
Yeah.
Podcasting.
Yeah.
That's, again, News is out here. Everything's out here.
Yeah.
Podcast. And I'm guilty of it. I listen to podcasts all day long.
Yes.
So I'm going on. But podcasting, I think every agency should have their own podcast.
Yes.
What's your thought on that?
I would say yes. But I would say just understand there are some landmines that you need to avoid and things that you need to be prepared for. Is that you need to have somebody, first you're talking for an hour, right? Or maybe you do a half an hour podcast, but you're going to talk for a long time. So your agency is being represented constantly for an hour at a time. So have somebody in there that is going to be able to represent your agency and not, slip up, drop an F-bomb or something like that. Something unprofessional is what I'm trying to get at. Because you're essentially, it's a message. You're talking to an audience and you're giving a message and you're representing your agency. So this is a message from the agency. So just be careful at that. When I started the podcast, I did do one at my agency, and it was cool because over the years we have built a ceiling to where we can not curse, but we're able to joke around a little bit, and people understand like, hey, that's just the culture. They'll be all right. They're always going to tote the line, but they'll bring it back to what the purpose is. But I find as that entertaining, you have to entertain somebody a little bit, and so then you can feed them the information. So just be careful on who you're going to be bringing in, but the platform for podcasting is very, very useful, and you can knock out probably 8 or 9 PSAs in one sitting. And I can give you an example, and this is the way to think about it, is that we were discussing off camera, is that you have your long version, which is like the whole in totality what you're going to be listening to, that hour and a half or whatever it is. And then you cut it up into the medium chunks, which is just the meat and potatoes. Probably this portion I'd cut out. And that's like a 3 to 5 minute portion where the audience member can listen to that. And then you have those micro pieces that are going to be that 30-second, those golden nuggets, right? So it's very valuable to an agency that you're going to have all this content come out of one sitting, right? And if you're structured, and the conversation should be organic, but at least structured a little bit where you have a couple, hey, I want to hit this topic, and then go, right? So I brought in our auto theft and one podcast, and then we're talking about for agencies. And I have my personal that I have a strategy for, but it's more or less the same thing about the long, medium, and micro, but just for agency purposes. I brought in our auto theft, and man, what a great episode, right? We start, obviously, what was the one record or cassette that you owned, your favorite cassette, right? Just it's off topic, right? To break ice, and the audience is like, well, okay, this is not like, they can sniff out the fakeness.
Lock your car.
Yeah, they'll sniff it out and they're like, I'm not going to sit here for an hour and listen to political nonsense, for somebody being like super uptight and corporate. Like, I have no time for that.
Right.
I want to hear somebody real. So we're talking about, and one of them said, George Michael's "I Want Your Sex" is one of the records, and I'm like, I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, is Faith? And they're like, no. And I'm like, and I'm going through all the different songs that he. So I was like, and then they're like, I want your. I'm like, oh. Oh, okay.
Can we say that word in this podcast?
No, it's fine. We did, and we laughed about it. But that little bit, and as a higher up, you have to let that go. You have to let that go. But people, because they'll say, okay, they'll put their guard down and say, okay, they're just normal peoples, and they're talking about it. So whatever. So when we're going through there, one thing was the catalytic converters that they were stealing. They brought out a catalytic converter, and I'm like, bro, what? And I'm genuinely like trying to, what is it about this thing? It's like, oh, look in there. You see this? That little piece of metal is very valuable. And then they're talking about it. Okay, we had a case that they were at night, and people are like, if you hear construction at 2 a.m. in your neighborhood,
that's not normal.
It's not normal, right? There's nobody working. First, if you see any cones ahead of time, there was no construction going on, and then you hear construction noise, and you're like, okay, who's working at 2 a.m.? Long story short, put out that information. The other thing was key fobs, right? So. And I was like blown away, but I was like, bro, this is gold. And I got it just talking to him. He's like, yeah, what they do is when you come home from work, where do you put your keys?
People I take mine inside, deep inside my house.
Yeah.
Like, I don't put it by the front door.
Yeah, but where do you put your keys? By the front door? By the front door, okay. So, and I'm talking to the audience too. Like, if you come in, hang your keys up. Well, there's key fob readers that these guys come through with a book bag. They go to your front door. They scan your front door. And if it's in range, it'll scan your key fob. Then they'll go over to the car and open up the car, and they're gone. And they never had to break into your house. They just stood by your front door. So when he said that, I was like, oh.
What?
Oh, great information, right? And this came out organically just by being curious. I never worked in auto theft. I recovered plenty of stolen vehicles, made arrests, but this, like the way they were doing it, was very interesting for the audience. And had we not been able to sit, I would not have been able to extract that information. And then I put that out on a bullhorn for 30 seconds, him talking about it. That thing got hundreds of thousands of views.
Blew up, I'm sure.
Right. So,
yeah, because everybody's like, what? What is this?
So how valuable is that? Now imagine trying to, all right, we're going to talk, okay, so key file, okay. Hello, I'm Officer Perez, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys
about the key file.
They're gone.
Before you even get to the topic.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, but I think it's become a good venue, and I think a lot more agencies should invest the time in it.
1,000%.
And have that. And I like the idea. That's how I try to run mine. You know, I like to keep it flowing, keep it loose, but have a little bit of structure so that, you know, because you do want to hit key points.
Yeah.
You always want to make sure because again, you don't want, because I do listen to those too. You know, there's times when I'm like, okay, you put the mindless one on in the background while you're working, and they're just talking about the most random stuff, and you're like, whatever, you know. But you also have that. You need to have those that are a little bit more structured so you can get that information out to the system, especially with our line of work.
Yes.
We have to be able to get the info out. So, so transitioning from podcasts, what about apps like police apps, like departmental apps? What are your thoughts on those?
If you can get your citizens to download it, it could be useful, right? I'm a fan of, you have to kind of like, no matter how cool we think we are and how important we think we are as law enforcement, people don't give a shit. Oh, sorry. People don't care. People don't care. Yeah.
No, we're good.
People really don't care. There's so many things going on, and they're, like I said, it's in a stream of information of just stuff going by them. To get them to stop, come download my app, use my app, is very hard. So you kind of got to insert yourself to where everybody is already, and then kind of follow along, because that's who you're serving. That's your customers, right? So the apps can be useful 1,000%, especially if you're doing those. If you can integrate reports, like if you want to. What is it called when you're filing a report? But it's a certain threshold or something.
Like information type report, or something that doesn't respond. That doesn't require a responding officer.
I would say for bring value to your people. Yes, an app can work for that, but it's going to be specific. Don't think that they're going to be hanging out there like, oh yeah, I just got the new police department app, man.
Let's go.
So
I think it's a great place. I mean, because I think nowadays websites, people invest a lot of time in websites. I mean, I've done it in my own business stuff, but they're kind of like, not too many people go, oh, let me go check out this website today.
What was it again? www.
www. We go into the website, you know. They're a little outdated. I mean, they're necessary because every business, I think, needs, every agency, everybody needs a website. You need it. That's the base. And that's always going to be there. I think that'll be there forever.
Yeah.
But I think an app that you can have that's easy.
Yeah.
That I don't have to go searching for. You know, you go there and then everything's a little menu. Oh, I want stats. Oh, I want to report something. Oh, you know, latest the blog or the latest the videos. You know, things that you can go there. It's a good thing.
It's useful. It's good. Just realistic expectations. If you provide a service for them, absolutely. If you think it's because we're just so cool and everybody's gonna want to download just because we're so cool. Good luck. I find that we're just, you know, we get in line. As long as you treat yourself as, I need to insert myself into their life, and then, you know, I get out when I'm done, and don't think that their life is going to be all about you. And that's why I see.
I think it complements each other. But you need to have a good social media program.
Yeah.
You need to have maybe the podcast. It's
I'm not knocking
a full package.
I'm not knocking it. I'm saying yes. I'm just saying, just understand
Don't invest your whole world into it.
Yeah, what are you using it for? That's always my questions. Like, what's this? It's a tool, and it could be resourceful.
Exactly, a resource. And by the way, public service announcement: Citizens Crime Watch has an app. Download it on the Google Play Store or
Android
for
Android or Apple
or Apple Store.
Okay, so agencies. Now that's one thing. Crime Watch, that's another thing.
There you go.
Crime Watch is another thing. Well, that is a blanket.
Yeah, it's a resource. It's a tool for people to come by and get some.
No, you should have said I'm trying to plug my app.
Oh no,
those are two different things.
That came out of that. You know what that was? That was my boss on my shoulder going, talk about our app, talk about our app, talk about our app, talk about our app. And I say, if you don't mention the app, you're in trouble. So
no, if you're going to a place to see tips, tricks, and that's value, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
It's what I was getting at is like maybe learn about our agency. This is like, look at us. We're walking this person across the street. Right. Or we're standing.
You don't want it as I like that. You don't want it as a pat on the back. Thing. You want it as information.
Exactly.
Information and ease.
Yes, it's a resourceful tool for me to have.
Exactly.
I will have it in my phone.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, having the community buy-in with social media, because that's where they're going.
Yes.
That's where they're going to get their information. They're not going to, Channel 10 News, Channel 7 News, whatever local news there is. Yeah. They're going to Instagram, Department Instagram. What's going on?
Instagrams.
Okay. So, it's important. So, but apps.
Yeah.
We're talking about apps.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the newest app that's out there.
What you all been waiting for.
We teased it at the beginning. So for our law enforcement hopefuls out there.
Yeah.
Tell me about your new app, because there's something amazing that you've done.
So law enforcement career field hopefuls, also people that are looking to lateral. It's not only for law enforcement, dispatchers, public service aides, police assistant. I don't know what they're called, clerks, I guess. But anything that the police departments are hiring for, we are putting it into our app. It is in our app. We also have school guardians, so armed security. So our belief is that if you're looking to get into law enforcement, we're mentoring. Right. Let's talk about the app, and then I'll tell you everything that's happening. So, over the years, I go out with agencies. Videos that I do with them help their recruitment go up. So, what does that mean? People are watching my videos that want to be police officers. I go out with this agency. And it happens. And I'll just say Miami Shores is a case study that I love to talk about. I go out with them. I tour one of their vehicles on shift. Leave. Now they have, I think, 3 officers there from Alabama, Georgia, Texas. They said, I would never have known about Miami Shores had I not seen your video. And I applied, and now I'm a police officer there. So shout out to those guys there. So I'm like, okay, there's something special here, because agencies are having a tough time filling these positions. There's a crisis across the nation, and they don't know.
People don't realize how tough it is.
Yeah. Everybody's fighting for the same candidates. Yep. Right? So with this app, I said, okay, I got one piece of the puzzle. I got the agencies that need help. I got the other piece of the puzzle, that there's people that want to be police officers. So I need to put this puzzle together. So I created, with the help of my partner, the Police Jobs app. So shout out to my partner there. We created this whole system. He was a former director of a police academy for 7 years, a doctorate in education. Dude squared away. So I, together with our knowledge of everything, we came up with a system inside the app, and I'll break it down real quick. So agencies go on, and they're going to put a listing kind of like a real estate listing, like a Trulia or Zillow. So it looks like that, where the listings are there. Or you can switch to map mode for my guys in Miami Shores that people from other parts of the country might not know about. Now I could zoom into South Florida and see all the little red dots that are hiring. Click on it, boom, comes up the listing. The listing is going to look kind of like a real estate when you look at a house or something, but it's the agency. There's an apply button. You click right there, and now the applicants can apply right through the app. The other thing is, on the flip side, the agencies will now see everybody who looked at their listing and who applied. So now if I'm a recruiter, I can say, oh man, let me talk to Joe and say, hey, I saw
This guy's
you.
interested.
Yeah, you looked at my thing. Is there any other questions that you may have? And I can DM you through the app. It's an app. It looks just like a Messenger, Facebook Messenger, or Instagram DM. Being a social media guy, I said, this has to look and feel just like a social media app. So now Joe says, yeah, I just noticed that you don't have a beard policy, and I really wanted to. No, actually, we changed our beard policy last year, and now you can wear a beard, so go ahead and apply. Okay. I'll submit my application. Or the people that applied, hey, I saw you applied. Any further questions? These days, it's hard to recruit people. And exactly what I said, you have to become almost like a college sports when they go to your house and they talk to your grandma. You have to go and get them. Before it was like, who wants to be a cop? Get in line, buddy. Now it's hard to find people that actually want to join the law enforcement profession. There are, but it's just hard for them to find because they've gone.
You have to find competent.
Well, the other thing is find them.
Yes.
Is the lakes we used to fish or dried up, or the bait doesn't work anymore. Billboards. Nobody looks at billboards. The radio ads, pow, 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 power. Like.
Well, and I was going to say, the funny thing is, and that's why I wanted to side talk from your app, because I think it's an amazing app.
Yeah.
It's a great tool. It kind of sums up everything we've been talking about today.
Yeah.
We're going from social media.
Yes.
Vlogs,
Yeah.
Apps, all this whole world, bringing it all together,
Yeah.
and now being able to recruit and find jobs. And this is where I date myself, and not having to be the guy that opens a newspaper and goes, let me see if anybody's
Classifieds.
hiring,
Exactly.
classifieds, stuff like that.
Well,
so this whole world has come together
yes.
in things like this, and
Absolutely.
ideas like this with
Yeah.
your app.
Yeah, so so you have the listing, you have the agency be able to communicate. There's another thing in there that we created a ranking system. So now there's going to be, and keeping with that college sports and everything, the top 100 recruits in each state. Right now we're in Florida, but the top 100 recruits in each state. And how do they get on there? Currently, right now, 2 weeks in, we're at 2,100 potential police applicants, users on the app. They're in there, they're competing. So it's only been 2 weeks. So I imagine as this grows, it's gonna explode, right? We have about 15 agencies and we're onboarding another 5 that are coming in. 2 weeks, 20 agencies. So just extrapolate that as the months go on, right? And the system, I would say give it about, safe to say 3 months before we get our first person sworn in, because the hiring process takes some time.
Takes a little bit.
So here's how the top 100 to get into the ranking or start ranking. We created a badge system. What are these generation? They like Call of Duty. They like to play video games. So tailor it towards them. That's what I always say. Is package your message in something that's going to be received by that person. So we created gamified it by earning badges. And the badges are cool. They're colorful, looks just like a Call of Duty. Only if you have a master's degree, bachelor's degree, you can apply for these badges, you earn points. So all this ranking system, these badges correlate to what and this is where I mentioned that he was director of a police academy. I taught at the police academy for 2 years, and we always get 40 new recruits that we don't know from Adam. They're all dressed in a white shirt, black pants. We don't know who they are. So we say, okay, what are the characteristics that is going to make one of these 40 the class leader, the person who's leading this class? So we took that class leader, reverse engineered them, and we created badges for each of the characteristics that we believe makes a good recruit. So if you're ranking in that leaderboard, when you get hired, you should go into the academy and you should be a stud or a studette. I don't know what the female version of a stud is.
Sounds good. I like it.
You should be good at what you're doing. So inside that system, now you have you're competing for these badges and you're ranking. So we have 52 badges, and they range a different array of. You have stuff that you have gotten over the years throughout. So if you have a degree, if you're in the military, if you were a security guard, if you were a PSA, if you were a dispatcher, if you were a corrections officer. So things that, go into a good police officer recruit that you're coming in with some knowledge, you're going to get points for. We also have other things that are kind of like that we call them competitive badges. These are you're going to earn constantly. So every day you come in, you check in the service, right? You get your daily sign-on badge, you get points. Those build consistency. So if someone's coming in every day, they're dedicated to come in to try to become a police officer. The other thing is bookworm quizzes. We give you questions, you answer. How fast you answer, you get points. And if you answer them correctly, you get points. So it's a timed thing. There's 10 questions every week. We're giving them out, and they're police academy-ish style questions. The other thing, video quiz badges. You watch a video traffic stop, I'm telling you things, then you answer the questions for that. If you're a Nick Off Duty subscriber, you get
a badge.
Yeah, I made the app. I gotta get.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it. Get a little in there.
All this stuff is to help recruits understand the process, to show their skills. We have a video library in there, and in that library, I'm giving you tutorials, 10-minute videos, the top 5 things you should know about the oral board. This is what you should have ready when you're going for the physical agility test, so on and so forth, what to expect. And so as these recruits, there's a minimal information from law enforcement that we give because we're like, we got to keep secrecy. Obviously, I'm not giving away like, this is how to defeat the polygraph. But it is like, hey, this is what to expect at the polygraph. You know, this is the way that it's going to work.
You know what? That's an amazing service.
Yeah.
Because it's, you do. Like a lot of times you get people that have no clue.
No clue.
You have kids that are fresh out of college that have nothing. Now, you know, military, you get a little bit more, you get a little bit more, you know, how to play the game a little bit, but these kids have no idea and they show up. Oh my God. The process alone will drive them crazy.
We are getting such good feedback from the recruits. They really, and it's completely free for them to come on. And let me talk about cost. For agencies, it's so minimal. There's nothing out there like it, and we're keeping the cost super low, just operating budget we need. But you made a noise. So it's super low, and we're keeping it so minimal that like a small agency is going to pay like $80 a month just so we can keep the server going. We noticed that server cost a lot of money. So right now we're like negative, but long story short, we want to provide this for everybody. It's important that we get every agency on board so that everybody can have a selection. Like, oh, you know, they're not on. I don't want to be on here. Right. So that's one of the things. So to go back to the last thing is we have a timeline on there as well. So the timeline is like a Facebook timeline where the post will go out, people comment on it, so agencies can use that to say, hey, we got a new position, and then everybody in the app sees it. It's a great tool so far. Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m., I'm live inside the app, and we have an audience that comes on, and they ask questions, tips, and tricks. And right now, give me like 3 months, and we'll do this again, and I'll tell you all the success stories. There's people awesome, in the process right now.
Again, see, that's why I say that's why you're the guru. You've taken everything you've learned throughout the years, and the importance of social media, why we're here today talking about, and you've put it into this whole program, and this whole service. That it's a win-win. It's a win-win all around, I think. It's a win-win for the candidate that's trying to get hired. Yeah. It's a win-win for the agency trying to find the best recruit. Yeah. And it's a win-win for the community. Yeah. Because they're getting good quality officers out there. And they're getting people who are excited, dedicated, enthusiastic, and want to do that, and they're not just you're not grabbing the guy off the street, hey, come here, get in uniform, get in the car, go out there, it's safe, serve and protect. So you Miccosukee Police Department. You've been in law enforcement, how many years? 33. A couple days ago. So there's 33 years. Congratulations, by the way. Thank you.
All right. So Miccosukee, Miccosukee Police Department. That over the years, maybe it's like you and Miccosukee. So they have about. We put them on the app. Like close to 1,000 people have seen their application thing. We have over 100 and something that applied just to they're smaller agency, but we're giving them a stage and a platform. This is just an example of what we're doing. We're giving everybody that stage and platform. Like I said, 2 weeks, 2,100 candidates, and it rolls up about 200 every day, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So it's just a great tool, like you said. Bringing people together, and there might be somebody from North Florida that can't get a job because they have a beard, and up there we don't do ball caps and beards, and that's just the way it is. But they're like, I don't know. But maybe somewhere in the Orlando area or South Florida, there's an agency, but they would never know about it. Now we're going to bring it together, square peg, square hole, moving people around, making sure we're filling positions throughout.
That's amazing, man.
The entire country.
That's amazing. Congratulations on
Thank
that,
you.
and much luck. I don't like to say much luck because I think it'll be successful.
Police Jobs app. I got the logo
go.
right here. See,
And we'll throw a little. You got a website for it, or what do you have?
download in the Apple,
Download in the App
Apple or Android store.
We'll put it
Police
in
Jobs
here.
app.
We'll put something down here. I do this, and then
Yeah.
I got a cool producer that I do this, and
doing this.
stuff appears down
right here. So, if you're an agency interested, and we're doing free trials right now, so agencies come on, check it out, use it, see some success from it, and then it is what it is. We go from there.
Awesome, brother. Awesome.
Contact us. info@policejobs.app.
There you go. We'll throw that one on there too.
info@policejobs.app.
So, bro, man, thank you for being here today.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anytime.
we covered a lot. I know
Yeah.
we could probably go on and talk for
You're coming onto mine.
anytime.
You're coming onto mine.
Anytime. So we'll continue it there. So
Yeah.
I know that's what it is. I think that's why we connect. You like to talk. I like to talk. So we always sit there and just talk.
We're great for
talk.
podcasting.
So we're
This is
good.
great for
It's
podcasting.
awesome. So, but thank you again for coming on,
Appreciate
being
you
here. I congratulate you on all your successes over the years.
Thank you.
It's amazing what you've done. I think you are, and I say with all my heart, you are a staple when it comes to social media.
I got the goosebumps.
That's it. And it's not because of the coin. It's because I need it right here. But thank you for you've given me a lot of. I've learned a lot from you, and a lot of stuff I do. And sometimes I go, you're like that. What would Nick do? How would Nick do this? I said, let me do this like this. You know,
The pirate.
Remember the
Porn
pirate?
pirate- pirate booty.
Remember the pirate video? Yes. I'm still infamous for that.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
But I thank you for that, and I thank you for what you've done for law enforcement and for the community and stuff like that in the world of social media.
Appreciate you.
Continued success. So, well, thanks I will say for if we have any new viewers out there, make sure you check out our previous podcasts. We have a lot of great episodes. We are strong about sharing crime prevention and tips. Check out last month we had the Security and Exchange Commission. Just before that we had Sheriff Rosie on there. And just check us out. Give us some likes again, comments, anything you want to see us to bring out, let us know and we'll set it up. But if not, then we'll see you next month. And remember, crime prevention starts with you.
Starts with you.
You want to become a police officer or work in the law enforcement field? Today I'm going to talk to you guys about something I created that's going to help with police recruitment across the nation. It's going to help police departments find recruits, and it's going to help recruits find police departments. It's an idea that's been living in my head for 3 years. We created the Police Jobs app. Think of Trulio or Zillow, like a real estate app, meets Facebook, meets Match.com with a little bit of Call of Duty speckled in. And now police departments locally or across the nation can find recruits locally or across the nation. And here's how it works. You download the app for free, create a profile for free, and in no time, you're gonna have recruiters reaching out to you in your DMs trying to get you to work at their agency. And if you're a police recruiter, you're gonna have access to thousands and thousands of recruits and be able to message them and say, hey, would you like to work at my agency?